All right, we're going to read chapters 2 and 3 of The Gold Threaded Dress by Carolyn Marston. Chapter 3. The next day, as the class was going to recess, Liliandra knocked against Oi's backpack so that it fell. Oi turned to see that the photo of herself in her Thai dress had skidded out. Kung Ya had brought the dress from Thailand, and Oi always carried the picture to remind herself of Ya's visit. Frankie scooped up the photo. Is this you? He studied the picture closely, then handed it to Liliandra. Ooh, pretty, said the girls following Liliandra. Like a princess. Liliandra's eyes opened wide when she saw Oi dressed in pink silk, decorated with jewelry, even a little gold crown. That's not even her in that dress, insisted Frankie. It's a trick where they paste the head on body. But he'd kept the photo longer than anyone. That afternoon at circle time, Miss Elsa brought the globe down from the shelf. Boys and girls, let's see where we all come from. Oi felt her cafeteria lunch of enchilada and beans gurgle in her stomach. She scooted back from the circle until her shoulders hit the bookshelf. Miss Elsa spun the globe and the United States was hidden. First, let's see where Ronan is from. She touched an orange shape with her pencil tip. Somalia. Frankie whispered to his friend Santiago behind his hand. They pointed to Ronan. But everyone already knew that Ronan was different. He barely spoke English. He didn't play with anyone in the class anyway. Instead, he waited around for his twin brother to come out for recess. And then it was Hedgeski's turn. Finland, Miss Elsa pronounced. But Hedgeski, despite her name, spoke perfect English and looked so American that she had been the first one invited to become a clubhouse girl. Oi had seen Liliandra and the other girls taking turns combing Hedgeski's blonde hair. And now Olivia. Miss Elsa called Oi by her American name, the one her teacher suggested when, newly arrived from Thailand, she'd entered kindergarten. Even now, when Oi heard Olivia, she felt as though Miss Elsa were talking about someone else. Thailand. Miss Elsa's pencil landed again. But Thailand wasn't purple. Oi remembered it as green. She wanted to say something, but Frankie hissed, Chinese, and Santiago pulled his eyes into slits. Oi relaxed her sweaty fists when Miss Elsa turned the globe in the other direction again. And, she paused, here's a country where many of your ancestors are from. The pencil hovered over Mexico. Mexico? Oi thought about how Frankie had said she'd drawn her family to look Mexican. She looked around, moving only her eyes. Did that mean that these children weren't American either? In fact, Miss Elsa continued, I believe that Valente, who is Native American, is the only one who didn't come from somewhere else. Valente held his hand over his face and giggled. Oi understood his embarrassment. She remembered the teacher introducing her on the first day of kindergarten, saying that she'd been born across the ocean. The kids had looked interested, but no one played with her at recess. By accident, the picture of me fell out on the ground at school, Oi told Kung Mer that night as she shook out the eating mat and spread it on the floor. They said that the picture wasn't me, that it was a trick. The table and chairs that came with the house were pushed to the side of the room. Oi wished she could set a place for Kung Pa, too. But, as usual, he was at the restaurant. I hope all this isn't taking away from your schoolwork, said Kung Mer, handing her a shiny aluminum bowl of rice. Oi set the rice down in the center of the mat. Luck scrambled toward it and, before she could be stopped, grabbed a handful. You're there to learn, not to teach ignorant little boys, Kung Mer added. But she was learning, Oi thought to herself. More than Mer thought. Exactly what, though, she couldn't put into words. Another thing, Mer. Today, Miss Elsa told us that most of our class are Mexicans. Yes, in this neighborhood, that's true. Then they're not American either. Kung Mer laughed and poured chopped vegetables into a sizzling pan. Oh yes, they're American. Americans come from many different countries. After they'd finished eating the rice and gingery stir-fried greens, Oi went to the room she shared with Luck. She took out a piece of paper and drew herself in her Thai dress. She added each piece of jewelry. In Thai, she wrote, Even though I may become American, I still love this dress. She folded the paper and put it into an envelope. Oi wrote her Thai granny's address using American letters, and then, again, the Thai alphabet. Whenever Kung Ya visited from Thailand, she taught Oi those letters so that Oi knew them almost as well as she knew the American ones. Oi licked several stamps and put them on the corner of the envelope. I want Kung Ya to know that I'm still Thai, she told Kung Mer, giving her the letter to put above Luck's reach. That you haven't become Chinese? Mer pulled Oi into her lap, and they both laughed. Oi wished she could tell Mer about the clubhouse and how she longed to be one of the girls who ran quickly to the special spot at recess, but Mer wouldn't understand. Luck came and pulled at Oi's arm, but the lap was Oi's for now. Me too, Luck shouted. Oi didn't move, but leaned back against Mer. If only she could draw strength from Mer's tight, strong body. Later on, Oi went to the drawer where she kept the dress in a plastic bag. She lifted it out and slid her fingertips under the plastic, caressing the stiff pink silk. There were 3 parts to the dress, the tight skirt and 2 sashes. During Ya's last visit, Oi had asked Ya to help her put on the dress every day. First came the skirt, then Kung Ya would drape the plain pleated sash over Oi's right shoulder, across her chest and back. The heavy lace sash went on top. Ya would pin both sashes together at Oi's waist. Now, Oi almost never wore the dress. It wasn't to play in or get dirty, but for wearing at ceremonies. Oi wondered if it even fit her anymore. Next, she opened the cardboard box that held the jewelry. She picked up the bracelet for her upper arm. It rested heavily between her fingers, the gold shining in the dim light. Like a princess, the girls had said. Chapter 4. Liliandra beckoned to Oi. Oi tried not to hurry, hoping that Liliandra wouldn't notice that her jeans were too short. Hey, Olivia, forget Frankie. I know you're not Chinese. You're from Taiwan. Liliandra twirled the end of her ponytail with her index finger. Oi longed to say, not Taiwan, Thailand. Taiwan is China. But she didn't want to ruin her chances with Liliandra. I've decided to invite you into the club. Liliandra flipped the ponytail over her shoulder. Oi looked out over the playground in the direction of the clubhouse. Liliandra held out one of the special trading cards. A purple pony with wings and a necklace of glowing stars looked as though it would leap right off the paper. Oi reached for the card. Liliandra pulled it back and tucked it into the pocket of her overalls. It's just to look at, not to touch. But if you come to the clubhouse, you can see it again. Sure, sometime. Oi looked away. She didn't want to seem disappointed. If Liliandra saw that Oi felt left down, she would be even meaner. There's just one thing. Liliandra narrowed her eyes. That dress you were wearing in the picture, you have to bring it to school. You have to let each one of us try it on. Let other girls try on the dress Kung Ya had brought all the way from Thailand, especially for her? Oi stared at Liliandra's overalls, her worn flannel shirt. Oi imagined the pink silk dragged along the playground. Maybe Liliandra would let her join and then forget about the dress. But Liliandra seemed to guess her thoughts. Before you get into the clubhouse, you bring the outfit. Oi pushed a little rock with her toe. I've got to ask my mom. Ask your mom? You have to ask your mom about something like that? It's your dress, isn't it? It's put away somewhere. I'll have to find it. Look for it. Bring it Monday. At the clubhouse, I'll tell you a secret about Frankie. During mid-morning recess and lunch recess, Oi played with Marissa, one end of the jump rope tied to a tree. Teddy bear, turn around. Neither Liliandra nor the clubhouse girls paid the slightest bit of attention to Oi. It was as though Liliandra had told her she would never, ever be in the club. Oi tried not to let her eyes follow Liliandra and the other girls when they disappeared around the corner of the climber. Instead, she looked across the green field where Frankie ran back and forth with others in a soccer game. At least he couldn't tease her from so far away. Was Liliandra telling the truth? Did Frankie have a secret? That's the end of chapter 4.